want to tell you that God understands. He understands the context of your life. He understands that. And I want to say this. He's not a God that takes a step back and allows you trying to figure it out. But He's very present. And we want to talk about that this morning. He's very present. And sometimes He speaks in ways that maybe we haven't understood, or maybe there's ways that He's spoken that we haven't really realized, because I want to tell you this, God always is speaking. He always is speaking. But sometimes I don't understand what He's saying to me because I'm expecting a certain thing to come. And when that certain thing doesn't come, I don't think He's listening or He's speaking. And I've found in my own personal life, as I've studied God and learning to walk the path that's in front of me, I'm recognizing that, man, He is there. He is there. And He's not like this. And sometimes I have to learn just to take a step back from the situation I'm in and just allow myself to hear what's God saying. Because when I read this book, I see too many examples that God met people not at the finish line. He didn't meet people at the finish line. That's where the celebration is, right? We run the race and you know, we've clocked the time, we've scored the right goal, we've accomplished what we need to accomplish, and we're at the finish line, and that's where the awards are given out. That's where the ceremony is highlighted. That's where recognition has happened. It's at the finish line. But He's present.
Yes.
While we're in the mess. And when I read this book, I read examples after examples where God didn't meet him at the finish line, but He met him in the journey. And sometimes that journey was something that they never would have thought of. I'm thinking of the children of Israel at the Red Sea when all they seen was death. All they seen was capture. All they seen was life was about to flip upside down and get worse. All those things, but yet right in the middle of that, God spoke a word to Moses. And He said, "What's in your hand?" You see, a lot of times we don't recognize what we've already been given.
That's right.
And God just reminded Moses, "What's in your hand?" It was an insignificant rod or a staff. He says, "I want you to take that staff and I want you to stretch it over the Red Sea. And I'm going to do something amazing in the middle of your circumstances." And by him obeying God and just lifting that up, the Bible says all that night, God caused the winds to blow. Do you need winds to blow in your life? Do you need winds to blow in your circumstances where you can start seeing maybe something that you haven't seen before? But as He stretched out His hand, the Bible tells us that all that night the winds blew. Sometimes I want God to be in a little faster hurry than He is. I don't want to wait all night or weeks But Moses' act of faith, by taking what was in his hand and stretching it out, God caused the wind to blow. All that night, the Bible tells us the wind blew, and all of a sudden, they started recognizing a way through.
Jesus.
And God spread the waters and saved an entire nation. And the Bible tells us that they walked on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and a wall of water on their left. Who would have guessed?
That's right.
David writes in the Psalms, and he says this: "There was a way made, there was a path through the deep waters." We don't always see that path because all we see is deep waters.
Yeah.
Yet when God speaks, the impossible becomes possible.
Yes.
The obstacle becomes a stepping stone. The situation in front of us in the mix, there is an answer.
That's right.
And I want to pray this morning that that kind of revelation would come alive in you as you take a step back from your circumstance, your situation, and listen for what God tells you.
Jesus.
Because he's always, always, always speaking. Always.